Hello, welcome back to Aether. This is Satomi and Paul from sakaso.ca. Thank you for coming back. So we can start today's episode 75. So getting there, big numbers every week.
What are we getting to?
Somewhere.
100 or 1,000? I don't
Somewhere.
know.
So today, what does it take to heal? It's a big topic. It's like ultimate topic, right? So if we know that, the healing could be simple.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's so unclear, and sometimes you feel like it should be clear, and then you go on one direction, and it's like, what's going on? I cannot heal. Why? And then that real healing journey starts.
Yeah,
from there.
that's exactly what we want to go into with this is the frustrations, the unexpected elements that you discover that have a place in this, and it is discovery, one way or another, whether you read it in a book or somebody tells you or you just figure it out, whatever it is. And there's an aspect to ourselves that is somehow not a part of our life the way it should be. There's an aspect of our authentic self that isn't there, and that gap is where illness comes in. That's one way to put it, I guess. But let's just bounce out here for a second here. Questions and comments are welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. And I see you already here, Scott. Thank you for saying hi. Anybody else you just want to say hi, that we'd love to have you join in the conversation here. Or if you have some question about what we're talking about here, it really helps us to dive in the way that makes sense for you, right? Because that's going to be very similar to other people. So, like we're kind of saying here, right? You try stuff. Of course, you go to the doctor. You're having problems. You go to the doctor. You go to, I don't know, you go to a naturopath, right? You go to Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine or whatever you try, all the different kinds. Or maybe it's on the psychological side, and you go to a therapist. You go to a psychiatrist, right? You go to all. You try. They always give you something. Right? You try those things, and we talked to some people where they would prefer a different way. We'll just put it that way. And so if those things haven't had the answer, right? What the F does it take, right? What really? I mean, it's hard, and people get frustrated with this.
So it's like let's say you had a cut somewhere, right? You cut your hand, and then you maybe if it's minor one, right? If you cut your finger off, you have to go to the doctor. But if you have a minor cut, and maybe you put something on, right? Some cream on and Band-Aid on. That's it, right? And then your body can heal on its own. That's what you expect. Simple treatment, just a little bit, right? And so that's the simple way and simple path, and we try first, right? And then you treat yourself, you treat your hand. Okay, that's not getting better, and it's getting actually worse. And now I'm having some pain here and there, and then I got infection, and infection leads you to this and that, and then So simple treatment is not healing you, and then actually you keep having an issue or issues getting bigger and bigger, and that's the like I said, real healing starts, right? So it was just a cut, but it's revealing something that you actually need to heal from inside. And so cut just triggered something, and then now it's becoming a bigger issue. Why? Because there's something that just simple medicine cannot heal. There's something deeper and bigger that is presented for you to heal. That's what's happening. That's why lots of people who have been struggling to heal, there's something that they need to look at, not just on the surface, not just the symptoms, but something bigger and deeper is under there, right? So yeah, so that's why I'm saying that's when the real healing journey starts.
Yeah, so that, like you're saying, that opens up. That's where you really start to open up. So what's missing, right? You start that. You do the obvious things, and then it's not working. So then the process starts, and that process can be, sometimes straightforward, and that's great. Sometimes it's very, very long and difficult and frustrating, and there's blind alleys, right? You go down. Sometimes you have so many options, you're not sure which one to take. Sometimes you try something and you get somewhere, some progress, and then it drops off, right? So it can take, maybe that is a way that's go forward, but you have to be resilient in that case, perhaps, right? And deal with that drop off and somehow make an adjustment and keep going, right? So you want to do that comment? Sure. So Scott's got a comment here. Thank you, Scott. With most psychological illnesses, medication is only half the issue. You have to be able to find the root cause.
I think it means it
only identifies that you have an issue.
It creates issue. I don't know. It has medication. It's just not clear what you are saying, but I would say medication is just Band-Aid, especially
in many cases. Yeah, I don't know about every case, right? I couldn't say that, true. But I would agree with you that in many cases,
psychological illness.
Yeah, so those psychological medications and perhaps and I would argue perhaps some of the other physical medications for physical problems, that they are they're treating symptoms or masking over the deeper problem. Yeah, right.
Like that. I'm saying Band-Aid because you have anxiety. Okay, just take this medicine, take care of your anxiety, your depression. Okay, you take this medicine, it takes care of depression. But like Scott is saying, you have to find the root cause. That's why I'm saying that medication is just a Band-Aid. It's just treating your symptoms, not treating the cause. So you might feel better, and then anxiety is balancing and you have less anxiety, but the root cause, is it healed? No, you're not treating the root cause. So when you are not taking medicine, anxiety comes back, or you feel better and you're more stable, but the root cause is not healed, then it can come back in a different way, right? So you have to find the root cause and treat the root cause.
Yeah, and he's talking about PTSD mainly,
Mm-hmm.
but there's other possibilities too. And yeah, well, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about trauma as we go along here
Mm-hmm.
in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had some abuse in your family. That's right, Scott. And that's very hard, and I can relate to that. So yeah, so that, like you're saying, you want to get, like Scott, what you're saying is you want to get down to the root of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the root of the issue, right? So in simple terms, what we would say is that it's about, like we're saying earlier, there's something from your authentic self that's not currently part of your life. So what would that be? Maybe it's about self-acceptance, right? Maybe it's about self-doubt. Maybe it's about self-love. Maybe it's about not allowing abusive relationships, right? And what does that mean? That means you have to establish, sovereignty. You have to have boundaries, right? You can't just let other people walk over you. And so those kinds of dynamics lead to mental problems, right? They lead to trauma, they lead to depression, they lead to anxiety, and those issues snowball into physical illnesses. Mm-hmm. Or you can go straight to the physical illness, right? You don't have to go through it doesn't have to represent itself in your psychology necessarily. That's what's going on. And when you engage with those things, you get down to the root cause, and you bring those aspects of your authentic self through. That's the pathway to healing, right? So so what does that involve? Well, one of the things I would say that's important to understand is that finding that path to healing, to true healing, is that's what we're talking about here, true natural healing, right? So that, in other words, dealing with the actual cause and dealing with it directly without band-aiding anything over, without forcing the issue. It's allowing yourself to come through in a natural way. So one of the things that I think is very important is that it doesn't happen on our own terms, right? And why do I say that? So in other words, what I mean is, we don't get to, and when we go through our healing journey, we don't get to say from the start, I'm willing to go this far, I'm willing to change just this little thing in order to, heal. Maybe I'll give up, certain kinds of desserts or something, right? And that's as far as I'm willing to go. If that's what we do, if that's how we approach our healing, and we say that I'm willing to do this, but not that, and pick and choose, and like it's like you're, like you're at a salad bar or something, right? A salad bar for healing. It doesn't work that way, right? This is your authentic self calling you, is what it comes down to. You're being called, as we feel we all are, being called to our authentic self. That's what we're here for, right? And so that authentic self, if we're not fully embodying that, which, you have to be Buddha or Jesus or, an ascended master to fully embody your authentic self. We don't claim to be, right? So it's all about connecting with your authentic self that way. And that means some pretty substantial work, right? That means substantial change is likely in the works, right? In order to get to the healing, right? If you don't want to do the substantial change, right, the healing, it's may not happen, right? So that's what you're choosing if you don't decide from the start that you're going to do what it takes, right? So, and I found that out the hard way, right? I tried this little thing and that little thing. I'm willing to give up this. And sometimes I was willing to go, big step or something. But if I knew what I needed to change from the very start, I don't know what I would have said because I enjoyed being me, that old me, right? It's in some way I enjoyed it. It was an indulgence on my part, right? To be that way. You know, I'd be lazy and I would say things are your fault or something, right? That was my old way. I grew up that way, right? There was so much finger pointing in the house I grew up in, right? It was like it moved around faster than light speed, right? Stink didn't move faster than blame in my household. So it was very comfortable for me to relate to people that way, and I would do it even kiddingly, right? With you, I would joke about it, and you're like, no, I'm not joking that way, right? So I could. In a sense, I enjoyed being that way. I was indulging in being that way.
Yeah,
right?
like you didn't say that you enjoy being that way.
No.
You hated being in that relationship, right?
Those
So,
old relationships I had, yeah.
So those relationships you
Mhm.
hated. So because you hated and you didn't want to be like them, so you claimed yourself you are not like them, so you are good, and you aren't the finger pointing people, one of those, right? So you separated them, and not like I witnessed so much and I don't like them,
Yeah.
so you thought you were not doing that at all.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I wasn't. The thing I didn't have my head, you know, I didn't get it. It was that there is a matter of degree in this, right? Sure, I wasn't as much, but in principle, I had still those same elements going on in me, right? I felt it was okay to blame, right? And that was not going to work in our relationship, right? I had to learn the hard way on that one. You had to kind of help me out there a little bit, come to a realization. So that was part of my process of something I didn't want to give up. I didn't even know I had it. I fooled myself into thinking I didn't have it because I wasn't to the same degree.
You didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Right. But to be in that situation and those relationships, you kind of have to pick up those weapons that they were using to be equal to not to be dead.
Yeah, maybe if I was, born like Buddha right from the start, it wouldn't have gotten into my psyche or something, right? Maybe I would have been like, just meditative and just sending the love no matter what, right from the word go, and it never affected me. But that wasn't what happened.
If you were like that, maybe you didn't have to come to this world.
Maybe,
so here anymore,
yeah, exactly, right.
So
so I picked up some stuff, right? So, or maybe I brought it in with me, right? Maybe it was like that, right? I brought that as something from my past life.
You chose to
Who
be
knows?
in that family, so it's something.
Something there.
And if somebody is pointing gun at you, you have to use something to protect yourself. That's your protection mechanism to survive, right? So, and even if you don't like people pointing gun at you, to protect you might have to have a stick or something. If you don't have anything,
or like a chair, like Jackie Chan or something, right?
You have
or a
to
ladder, like a mop. I could use a mop.
Fist or chopsticks or whatever, but it might not look like a weapon, but it's you were using this, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm not blaming you. It's your survival protection mechanism that you needed, right? And so, why are we talking about this?
Okay. Well, it's just to bring it back there because I had stuff. I had healing to do, and I needed to give up some things that were just part of me that I didn't even know were there. In a sense, I'll say that I think it is accurate to say that I enjoy being that way, because why else would I choose to be that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could maybe just say it was a habit
Mm-hmm.
that was there all
Mm-hmm.
along, but it was still an indulgence for me to stay that way, because it's easy, right? It's easy to blame other people. It's just one example. It's not just all about the blame here. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using that one example
Mm-hmm.
as a thing that I didn't know about, and I didn't know if I really wanted to give it up,
Mm.
because it is so convenient to look at the other person, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Jesus says that, in the Bible, it's like, it's easier to notice the mote in your neighbor's eye than the log in your own. I might be slightly misquoting, but
Mm-hmm.
you get the idea.
Yeah,
Is that
you can see the person.
Mhm.
You can see every part of that person in front of you, including their back.
Mhm.
You can't see your back, what you have
Yeah,
in your back.
yeah.
Right? You can't really see your face until you
Mhm.
see in the mirror.
Mhm.
Right? So it's easy to see on other people and harder to see on yourself. That's
Mhm.
one thing. And then I was going to say something, but I forgot. But yeah, it's not like you said you loving, uh, you you love being that way, right? Kind of thing. You choose to be that way. Lots of people don't think that way,
Mhm.
right? Yes, you um, spiritual way. You're choosing to be that way, but in the human way, the conscious way, no, I'm not choosing to be that way. I hate it. I just don't have. I don't have option, right? So that's what lots of people think, but there's there always another option, but you are choosing to be that way. So somehow because you think it's safe in some crazy way, right?
Mhm.
It's maybe abusive relationship. It's not really safe, but financially safe or something, right? So there's a reason why you are choosing it, and then you're saying being lazy or something. It's kind of deeper way of thinking, but that's what's happening. Everybody is choosing, right? Yeah. So and but it doesn't. The healing doesn't happen on our terms. That means you cannot really
I
pick
can't
and
stay. I
choose.
can't stay that way
Mhm.
and heal. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Boil it down, very straightforward terms. I can't stay in that being that person
Mhm.
and heal.
Mhm.
I had to get past that, right?
Yeah.
And we even couldn't be together unless we
Mhm.
got to pass that, right? So
Mhm.
it's just essential. You want to go to a comment here?
Sure.
Which one?
Scott was saying, I need to ask myself, do I know that verbally abusive stuff like I heard growing up isn't true? Right? Do I really believe that crap? So yeah, so it's when you receive stuff over and over and over, like the first time maybe you feel like, oh, what is he talking about, right? He's not seeing me, right? You might feel that way. That's not true, right? But if you over and over and over and over, and there's a part of you that don't don't want to admit it's true, but the other part of you is because you hear it over and over and over, you're just receiving it. And then it becomes somehow all the words becomes kind of true to you, and then you start to believe it. Or maybe he's right, or maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that.
Yeah,
right?
self doubt, right? And then when I mean, when you get bombarded like that, to a certain part of you does believe it. It's hard to not be that way. So
yeah.
Absolutely, Scott, that's something that happens to people. I mean, and there's so much that we absorb, right? There's so many avenues, like we talk about this, there's so many avenues that we absorb things over the course of our lives. When we're little kids, we're sponges. We're just like, soaking everything up. So who knows what we're getting in there, right?
Especially
lots of it's good, but not all of it, right?
When you're young, your brainwave is like a directly connecting to subconscious mind. So you whatever you receive, it just goes right into subconscious mind, right? And then if you receive it over and over, yes, it becomes a solid program, right? You're not good enough, right? You're a bad kid. What are you doing, right? You gotta smarten up, right? And those kind of things, and it just stays. And I am not smart. I am not good enough, and I don't deserve this, and I am not loved. Those kind of thing. It just goes straight into subconscious mind, and then you ended up carrying it for the rest of your life if you don't do anything, right? And
that comes back to this again in a weird way, right? So in other words, even those negative programs, which if you look at it, objectively from a third person, you would look at that and you say, why would anybody believe that, right? But you have to understand that for ourselves, right? If we're hearing, all that negative stuff, like, and we get that self-doubt, right? And then we learn over our, like, we make mistakes. So let's say we hear lots of negative stuff that builds up self-doubt, right? We make mistakes, and those people, they remind us so much about those mistakes, right? So you learn this lesson, like, you are not necessarily to be trusted, right? You don't necessarily have what it takes to make good decisions. Something's wrong with you, right? And then, so those become programs, right? Subconscious programs. And when you're facing the prospect of some illness, something you want to get over, self-doubt is one of those things to let go of. But here's the weird thing, the weird psychology is, if we feel safer by doubting ourselves because we know we've made mistakes in the past. So if we trust ourselves to be our authentic self, we're going against the self-doubt, which is safe, because we want to question ourselves from that, in an unhealthy degree, based on the self-doubt. So we tend to hold on to it. So this doesn't happen on our own terms. We have to let go of that kind of stuff to move forward. It's the only way, right? And it seems so weird that we would want to hold on to things that are toxic to us, but we do, and we do it because there's some logic that says that's safer. It's safer to be the old way because we've gotten this far. We're still alive. We've survived. We've gone through absolute hell, and we've survived it. So there must be something we're doing right. So being this way, we know this way, and we know that if we don't trust ourselves, then trusting ourselves to do something different, I don't know, right?
Like
do we have the ability to do it? All that stuff.
Self-doubt, like a checking if you're doing something properly, checking if this works for you, checking and looking into things. That's good. Do it, right? And self-check and self-doubt is totally different things, right? I do self-check all the time. Am I doing this out of love? Or
so you're stepping back and asking a question to challenge what you're up to a little bit, right? So
that is important. You cannot just be blind and this is my way and this is all right, and that's not right.
Mhm.
Right? So self-check and just check yourself and question yourself and challenge yourself. Am I doing things for everybody's best interest, or am I doing this just being selfish? Is this my ego, right? Or that's more like a spiritual side. But this medicine is that gonna work for me, or is it giving me a problem? Right? You check in things. It's important. Check frequently, and that's good. But self-doubt is totally different things. It's just doubting your decision, doubting, um, and then it's not same as self-check.
It's a whole different energy.
It's a whole different energy.
It's
yeah.
I'm not sure how to capture that, but there's a lightness to the self-check.
Yeah. So
there's a lightness and an objectivity and a enough confidence in yourself to look at two different options about how you could do things,
so
not just
it's
go
like
with the one. Right?
Being aware,
Yeah.
and then staying centered.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Staying centered, and you're aware,
Mhm.
and then you're just looking at things,
Mhm.
Being in a balanced way,
Mhm.
right? Self-doubt is fear.
Mhm.
You're doing it out of fear,
Mhm.
and then because you don't trust yourself. That's why you.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the
exactly the difference.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you don't trust yourself, what that means to your whole thing is you're not trusting your power. You're doubting your power,
Mhm.
including healing power.
Mhm.
So your body receives that you don't trust your healing power,
Mhm.
and then body receives, okay, my body is not functioning well. There's a doubt here. There must be something is wrong,
Mhm.
right? So okay, right, and that's how body works.
Yeah. Self-doubt really is attacking yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a mental consideration and exercise
Mm-hmm.
in your mind. It's an attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's a fear.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. So if you are doubting yourself, then it's not really helping. It's making things worse.
Mhm.
So you want to, like you're saying, let go of that self-doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe that's a good segue to the next one,
Mm-hmm.
different aspect here. So there's a variety of different aspects we'll touch on through this. But another misconception,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important, is that there's a tendency for us to always think that to go from here to there, wherever that is,
Mm-hmm.
it's an achievement. In other words, there's to heal in some way, to change our behavior in some way, to do something that we haven't done before, that it's always an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we are starting from a place we're less than,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more than.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we have to develop ourselves, and we have to make ourselves bigger and better and stronger and wiser and everything in order to get from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
That is not true. And you might be wondering, like, huh? Like, well, the reason is because I mean, we even talk about this with the people we work with. There's an excellent metaphor that when you're healing, you're going to a goal and you're walking up a mountain, right? You're hiking up a mountain. That's a very reasonable metaphor. However, it's misleading in the fact that it's not actually the actual process of getting there has far more to do with letting go than obtaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's much more accurate. It would be much more accurate to say that it's like when you start out and you want to heal, it's like you're sitting in a hot air balloon, right? All the hot air is there, and you're just standing in the basket, you're on the ground, and you can't lift off. Why? You've already cut all the ropes. You did everything sensible to cut the ropes or untie them, whatever. But your basket is loaded up with sandbags. That's what this is like, right? So you can't get to where you want to go because you're holding on to these sandbags for dear life, like the self-doubt that we mentioned, for example, right? If you're holding on to self-doubt, that's a weight that's keeping you down and helps preventing you from going to where you want to go, which is, up. So if you let go of the sandbag, maybe a few more, then you start to rise. That's a much more accurate metaphor for what this is about. So people, and that comes back again to the self-doubt of whether or not the process that Sakuso, the healing process that we use, or whether anything else you might use, that self-doubt is always there nagging you, saying you're less than. What you're trying to do is more than, right? But we know you're less than. I had that voice in me my whole life. I'm less than, right? So having that voice and thinking that it's an achievement prevents me from getting to the healing, right? Whereas instead, if I let go of the self-doubt, then I don't see it as, and if I don't see it as more than to get to the place where I want to go, and if I just see it as letting go, then I can just naturally go there, right? I'll just naturally go there. And that's what this is all about. The natural healing process is all about just allowing the process to come in, allowing love into your life instead of fear, right? It was what it ultimately comes down to.
So it's like this was the big one for you, right? Achievement. But just trying to say what you said in maybe different words, and other people can understand in a different way. So like you were saying, achievement to heal, this is the goal, like a healing, I have to get there, right? But right now you're here, you need the healing power right now, right? And if you are saying you are less and you are not enough, you're not using the full power, that healing power that you have right now. And then you are not taking up the step, right? So instead of setting a goal here, and you just come to here where you are, and then focus on just trusting your healing power, and whatever your higher self knows what to do, and trusting your higher self, trusting yourself, and allow yourself to use that power right now. Accept your power, accept yourself, and then the power start to work, the healing start to work naturally. But if you set the goal, I'm not there yet, I'm not, I don't have like 100% of whatever, then you are not, you're blocking yourself to use your power fully, right? Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And this is an important aspect of what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the whole philosophy behind what we do, is that we already have the power within us to heal. It's natural to us. It comes when we are aligned with our authentic self. And we don't have to be 100% aligned. We don't have to be, all the way to enlightenment in order to heal, right? That's just not the case. So, but the more aligned we are, the more of this can come through. It's just natural, right? And so what we're talking about by the letting go of things, we're letting go of the things that are standing between us and our inherent power that we have in us. that we were born with.
Mm-hmm.
And we never lose. You can't lose it because it's what we truly are, right? So, is that good for that?
So it's like our power within us, let's say it's in here, right? Then somehow we lose connection to the power within us. What are the blocks that is the blocks that we build growing up, right? In the subconscious mind, like you're saying, I am not good enough, and then self doubt. That's a block, right? I'm not smart, right? I am not loved, or what else?
Not worthy.
Not worthy, right? And I cannot do this. I cannot
can't trust
do that,
myself.
right? So those are all blocks that blocking between you and your authentic self. So letting go of the self-doubt, letting go of the feeling not worthy, right? That opens up the path, and then you can connect to your authentic power. And then energy start to flow naturally, the connection is there, and then you can naturally start to heal, right? Yeah.
So you could say, I mean, this letting go thing, right? It's as soon as we do let go, it's like the balloon thing I was saying, right? As soon as we do let go, we rise, we move into, we're allowing ourselves to move into an alignment with our authentic self to a greater degree, right? So we were becoming more our authentic self. To me, it's inseparable from the concept and the experience of relaxing, right? So for me, like with all the stress and all, like the trauma and everything that I went through, I hold it in my body as tension, like you wouldn't believe, right? So way above and beyond, not just tense. There's a whole different level. And so for me, when I do this, it's so relaxing. It's just like when I'm meditating, so like it's a very meditative way of being, right? That's what we're talking about here. And it's calm. And that when you kind of picture Jesus or Buddha or something like that, that's where they are, right? You see Buddha, meditating under the Bodhi tree, and he's facing all the temptations from Mara. There's a story that goes like that. It's kind of like Jesus being tempted in the desert by the devil. Mara comes to Buddha, right? And Mara tries to tempt Buddha into becoming a ruler, right? And that kind of rule over the world. And Buddha declines, and and Buddha just touches the earth, right? He just, because the Mara says, who's going to witness your victory, and Buddha just touches the earth, right? So he's connecting to nature, right? The power of, he's connecting to the world around, right? And to that's what that relaxation and that meditative way of being is all about to me. So I just wanted to bring that in as kind of like an experiential way of thinking of this and connecting to it. Like if you get into a good meditation, that's what we're talking about. That's what this is about. You're when you get into meditation, when you're meditating, you're letting go. That's a very good way of thinking it, or relaxing, right? So so another element here that's important for all of this, and I'll let you maybe talk about this one, is awareness, right? Because that was so much a part of my growth. I'm not saying I'm fully aware of everything, but there's a difference between then and now. We come up with so many things along the way that there were aspects of the way I was doing things that I was simply not aware of. Like the blaming thing, right? We talked about that earlier. Maybe we'll stick with that example,
Okay.
right? So that's a good way to come into this. I would blame you when we had tension between us in our relationship. Always I blamed you. Like, I mean, it just happened automatically. And the thing was, I wasn't aware that I was making that step to go into blaming and projecting the blame onto you. I wasn't aware that I had actually transitioned from a more average state into a traumatized state. I went into fear mode, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. And I simply wasn't aware of that transition. So I don't know why. It's just so weird. There's this different Paul, this other guy, who slides in there, right? And something's triggering me, and I don't, and that having, when I'm not aware of it, it just arrives, and it arrives in the most sneaky way, right? Just in the background, through my subconscious, right? It comes out and into my body and that kind of stuff. And that's where it comes out long before I'm consciously aware of it, right? And you feel it. You feel it when I'm starting to go there.
But you can see and you can feel on other people probably when they are carrying something and when they are not aware.
Yes.
Right. So that's what we were talking about earlier. You can see things clearly on other people, but not you. But what happened is because you can see on other people's behavior, or they're not aware and they are carrying negativity, but they're denying, right? You can, just because you can tell, you think you are aware.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then because you can tell, oh, they're not aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware that they're not aware.
So I feel I have the impression that I can tell the difference.
Yes.
And I have the impression I could tell the difference with myself.
Right.
Because I can see it in other people.
Yeah. But
right?
that happens to so many people.
And that's where I fall down.
Yeah.
That's where I fool myself.
That you're telling yourself, I'm aware enough, right?
Yeah.
And then why you're talking about Satomi, why you upset and why it's your fault. I'm aware.
I'm fine.
I
used to say that to you.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
So that is that tricky part that you can see on other people. It's way easier to see other people's fault, right? But you can, when you are doing it, you cannot tell. I said that so many times when we were arguing, like you did something that I'm not happy, and I did the same thing, and then you are like, why you do this? Don't do that. We just did the same thing, and if you're doing it, it's okay, and if I do it, it's not. I'm fine. I'm not doing anything wrong. Come on.
Okay, can't you see the humor in that?
It was so.
That's good fun.
Happens so often. Exactly the same thing. When you're doing it, it's fine. And as soon as I do it, and it's like, what are you doing? Right? So you can see that's telling us that, and it's not just you, it happens to so many people. You can see other people's fault, but you're doing the same thing, you wouldn't notice, you're not aware, right? So that being said, even you think you know the difference, you might not noticing for yourself, right? So you want to, again, self-check. That's why self-check is very important. You step back and you look at yourself like you're a third person, and then you ask question, um, is this is this okay? Is this fear, or is this love, or am I aware? Am I really aware?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just answer automatically. Am I aware? Yeah, I'm aware. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not, you're not even asking question. Am I really aware? Am I really sure that I'm aware?
Mm-hmm.
If you really ask, you can find something that maybe you are not aware,
Mm-hmm.
right? So asking question, like honestly, not fooling yourself, and then awareness comes in,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you are just telling yourself, yeah, I'm aware enough, and then keep going, that's a red flag,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, so being aware it's important, and how to do it is, one way is asking questions. The other ways, but one way is, yeah, I would say asking questions.
Another way,
Mm-hmm.
and this is important because so I would say that I'm better at this now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I was talking about that other self that comes in that's traumatized,
Mm-hmm.
that's fear-based, that's anxious, all this kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And blaming and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. When that guy comes in, I'm triggered by something, right? Somewhere. Um, I'm pretty good, I think, these days at
Mm-hmm.
being aware of that,
Mm-hmm.
noticing it, and then and telling you about it,
Mm-hmm.
so that you know that I know,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I know that you are aware.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I take some kind of action.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I can, have a hot bath or something, or meditate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even just quercetin and vitamin C. Like sometimes I get some like allergic kind of reactions to something. That something set me off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I take that, and it helps. It goes away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even a physical thing can trigger behavioral stuff. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that is very weird to me. That like if I'm having some sensitivity to something that's kind of triggering an allergic response, like you get more histamine in your body, and that makes you irritable. Just that can trigger that whole thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm aware of that enough now to notice the difference. And like I said, I tell you, and then I do something about it. But and if I have gone down the road,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we've had words,
Mm-hmm.
right, and I need to go blow off some steam somewhere and let it go,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I go exercise or go for a walk or whatever, right? And I settle myself down emotionally. So if I'm angry, I can't properly deal with this. I'm not my best. I don't think anybody's at their best when they're angry, right? So I have to let go of the anger somehow with some kind of physical stuff a lot of times. And then just to get it out, right? Just get it out of my body. And then once I'm able to calm down, I'm able to step back. And we talked about this in a previous video, I know, so I don't need to go into detail here. But dealing with, there's a way, like you said, you're when you say not challenging yourself, you're
ask yourself.
Yeah, you're asking yourself. Self-check is that's the term used.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing a self-check, that's one method. Another method is like what I'm saying. After you've already had the self-check didn't happen for me, right? And we get into it, and then I go settle down. I can then ask myself what it is. Is there something in this for me to learn, right? In that situation. So that's my habit. Is I've learned over time to ask myself, say, is there something in this? Is there an opportunity in this situation for me to learn something? Something I wasn't aware of. Could it possibly be that Satomi is right? I know it's almost impossible for that to be true. That's almost it. That, I mean, when, right? So like, I'm always so right, So it's a very difficult process for me to go through at that point, is to consider the remote possibility that maybe you're right? So I do that, and well, golly, something happens, and you turn out to be right? So I learned something, right? So that's one way that's another mechanism you can use.
It is like
to have the awareness.
You are asking questions.
Yeah. So I am, but it's after the fact, right? So I guess it's a self check after the fight. So instead of before.
So self check
Yeah.
is the key to be aware.
Yeah.
And when you ask question, yes, you have to be calm. You cannot just, when you are angry and asking questions, you get all the wrong answers. So no, that's not when you ask questions. So when you are upset, when you are angry, when you are scared, or when you are carrying any negative emotion and feelings, that's not when you ask those questions. You do self-check.
So want to do a comment?
Sure.
Where did we leave off here?
Just the last one.
Okay. Sometimes this is Scott again. Sometimes it's hard to go back and undo all the unhealthy habits you take on in the process. Oh yeah. So this can be like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term Gordian knot. It's a Greek myth. It's a knotted rope that's so knotted it's impossible to unravel. It can seem like that, right? I was in that. I had a Gordian knot to unravel, but it can be done. And my heart goes out to you, Scott. And there's even getting a little bit of progress means so much, right? And
then usually like a first piece or part getting loosened, that might be the hardest step.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're angry and frustrated and then trying to undo this, you might be tightened up more and more and more.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to relax.
Just wearing yourself out too, right?
Yeah. You just need to be patient and then just look at things and where do I want to work on? Maybe here, and then when you get tired, maybe here, right? Or maybe here, and then so it's you cannot force. You gotta just take your time and relax and do whatever you can do, right?
And it doesn't. And it's not necessarily true that even if it's difficult, and you get the impression that there's multiple things going on, that doesn't mean necessarily it's that impossible or next to impossible Gordian knot thing, right? Like the comparison I use a lot of times, or analogy I use a lot of times with clients is, it's like Gulliver's Travels, right? So Gulliver, he goes on a ship, is traveling by ship. He's shipwrecked. He wakes up in the morning on the beach on his back, and he can't move. He's just looking up at the sky, and then he hears all these little voices all around him. And when he comes to realize over a little bit of time, is that all these little people have tied him down with these little ropes, like lots of little ropes, right? So he can't move. But once he's able to get, one finger loose, and that's what this is like, right? This process is like getting a finger loose, getting a little bit of progress. Then that finger can help work for the next finger loose, right? And then your hand, and then before you know it, you can get your arm free, and then that can reach over, and you're out, right? So it's like, and you can stand up, and you're free. So it can that process can snowball in a very positive way, and you can, and so even if it's a very difficult place that you're in, going through this kind of work can lead you to beautiful places without, it being everything to get forever, right? It's not a forever thing.
So yeah, awareness is a key, right? And aware to what which things to let go of.
Yeah, exactly.
You need awareness,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Awareness. This is not something to achieve, but it's something to let go.
Yeah.
That's an awareness.
Yeah.
Right. So.
So I think with this one, we've got a lot more material on this, folks. We're going to continue. So you know, if you're there's exercises. I think we'll just go to the exercises in the next episode, that'll help you with this. So we encourage you to come back next week and join us right here at on Aether at 4:00 Eastern on Sunday. And you know, if you want to talk to us and get deep into your situation, just come by our website and schedule a breakthrough session. We'd love to have you and love to see you. And it's completely free. And that's where we'll be able to talk about in your situation what kinds of subconscious things are coming into the picture, and then how you can get rid of them. Right. So the subconscious things are what we're talking about. Those are the beliefs that we need to let go of in order to heal, in order to, you know, those sandbags that we want to let go of, and we can rise into our authentic self, our true self, and just heal. Right. It just comes. So that's the process, and in a kind of nutshell there. So we'll see you right here. And, you know, please subscribe, share, like, and all that good stuff. And thanks for coming by. We love you. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bless you.